let me turn to wills. Now, I don't want to deal with wills in any great depth because we have a separate guide and video about wills, and so if anyone's interested, look at www.Guides.Global or at the information box at the bottom of this video and you'll see links. But one of the key tools for inheritance planning is making a will. Because if you don't make a will, the law in your country or in Spain or both will say what will happen to your assets and you have no choice. If you make a will, by and large, you can do what you want.
Yes, you can plan how your wealth is going to be inherited by your heirs. In some countries, because we have in Spain, our civil code is regulating about a portion of your assets, a portion of your wealth that cannot be of what we say in Spanish a free disposition. It's got to go to your close family, children and spouse.
Yes.
And there is only the rest of it, the rest of that portion that is of free disposition, and you can give it, if you like, to a friend of you.
Yes.
But you cannot say in Spain that 100% of your wealth is given to a friend of you, because that's impossible.
Under Spanish law.
Under the Spanish law, a third of it is what we call legítima, which is compulsory, having to be given to your spouse and children. The thing is, why making a will is important is, for instance, I'm going to put the example of UK. A UK national that dies in Spain without a will, in theory, has to follow the rule of UK. But the thing is, the UK legislation says that if you are a UK national and you have assets in Spain, those assets in Spain will have to follow the rule of Spain. So it's like it's kicked to UK and back again, and bouncing back to Spain. And then once you are in Spain and you still don't have that will, you realize that a third of your assets will have to go to children and spouse, which maybe is not your idea.
Now, this has all been changed a bit, hasn't it, as a result of the European directive 2 years ago, I think it was. And so an important thing to get across to people is that they do have the right to choose which law is going to apply to their circumstances.
Yeah.
So if you're in a very lucky position. You can either say, well, I am, in your case, British, and I want English law to apply to my estate. Or if it works better for you, you can say, well, I am living in Spain, and so I would like Spanish law to apply to my estate. This is another incredible opportunity for making the best of the unfortunate fact that by that stage you will have died.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really why making the will is important, because you can govern how your inheritance is going to be without any limitations.
Okay, let's skip over that, because as I say, we have separate guides to making wills. The next thing I want to just mention, because it seems to fit logically in here, is the steps to take immediately when someone dies. And I can't remember the number of phone calls I've had over the years where someone said, my father in Spain has just died, what do I do? Or my neighbour's just died, what do I do? There are things that you must do immediately following the death. By immediately, I mean within a matter of hours following the death, not days or weeks. Now again, we have a separate guide about that, a written guide and a small video, so I encourage viewers to look at that guide if they're interested. But very, very briefly, what sort of things do you have to do in Spain if someone dies whilst they're on holiday over here?
Well, first is we have to have a death certificate. This is normally provided by the doctors. That is, the doctors, if they have no questioning, no doubt about the natural death of this, then they will give the death certificate. If they have doubts, they could consider to call the police or the judge in order to...
And of course, worth stressing here that just because the doctor decides to call the police, that doesn't mean that he thinks you've murdered the person. It merely means that it isn't entirely clear and they want to have a little bit of certainty as to what's happened.
Yeah, sometimes somebody could die because of a sickness, and that doctor could be perfectly the one following that sickness. But in case that somebody suddenly dies without any reason, without any sickness at the hotel, and the doctor is called to see if he is alive or not, if he's got doubts, he could really call the police or the judge in order to consider where there's got to be done an autopsy.
Yes. And once the doctor has seen so the first thing is that a doctor comes and sees the person who has died, and then the doctor decides really what happens next. If you are a relative, say back in Germany, of someone who has died in this country, what steps do you need to be taking? What are the urgent things that you need to deal with?
Well, the registration of the death, it will take automatically at the land registry. At the civil registry of the death, and then it's got to be decided by the families. In Spain, we don't have any institution that is supervising and taking care of this, but it's normally done by the family. Whether you want to do the cremation,
or to be buried, or to be taken home,
or buried or taken home, this is not something that is decided by the family members.
And that again needs to be done quite quickly. It's a matter of this can't wait weeks. This is a matter of a day or two.
24 hours actually. 24 hours, because in Spain the custom is
very quickly.
Yeah, it's very quickly in 24 hours.
Because it's a hot country.
It's a whole country, and it's actually traditionally happening in north of Spain. Is very similar to Central European or Northern European weathers, but still the tradition is 24 hours, and this is really how it's regulated.
Yes, and the other thing I found was often a problem was if your father and mother who lived here had pets. Someone's got to do something about the pets. They can't just be left in the house to starve to death.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of little things that need to be dealt with. But do look at our video about dealing with the immediate aftermath of the death, and look at the guide that accompanies it.